Hello, everyone, and here we are again on our series on Moolah Wisdom, and we are here with Jermina and Jermina, the wise one. So happy! Thank you, Jermina, for coming in today, and really excited to talk to you. Our topic today is a little heavy for all of us, and after going through the last topic, which was a little bit of having money and making money fun and using money for fun things to do. Today, we come to a little bit more a serious topic of that life is not always fair. And we'll also talk about how money can save us during circumstances and challenges that life can throw at us. And I think who better will understand this than Jermina herself. And it's really kind of you, Jermina, to even talk about this very touching and very heart-wrenching topic, which I know you've personally faced. But if you can tell our viewers a little bit of your story and how life threw a challenge at you.
Yeah, so Meeta, as you know, as my friend, last year I lost my husband in a very tragic accident. You heard me talk earlier about having the money dates and the money conversations. And I can tell you one thing, that the fact that there was transparency amongst us about what we had, where the things were, it really made it easy for me, because this also happened coincidentally 2 months before my son, who was to go abroad for his master's, this happened. And we spoke earlier about people have saved money for occasions, but what if you can't access it for that occasion? And I think it really brought around the point life for me, that the money was there. It was in my husband's account because it was planned in that way. And here I was suddenly grappling with a very tough situation in life, not having my head on my shoulders in the right way, having also to send my son away and having to kind of ensure that his fees and his expenses were taken care of. But fortunately, like I said, I knew where the money was, I knew how much, and more importantly, I also knew how to process it and claim it and get it into the right bank account, ensure it was there for my son when it was needed. And in spite of me knowing everything, knowing where the things were, knowing what's to be done, having my bank account managers, my wealth managers support me fully on this journey, it was a lot of paperwork, a lot. It obviously was very heart wrenching. Every time you have to fill a form, mention a death date, share details. But the point was, it was a lot of work. And that's one of the times when I realized that I am in a position of privilege. I have the knowledge of what our family income is. I have the knowledge of where it is. I have the knowledge of being able to process it. And yet it was taking the mickey out of me. And that's when I thought, what about other women? I know that a lot of my friends, if they were in a similar situation, they would be struggling to figure these things out. They would be struggling to know what's there. They would be struggling to know how do you really, now get it for you, keep it in your favor. And I really felt that all the more reason I should go and, start telling people that go, do these money dates, which we spoke of. Get aware. I mean, most of my friends are 40 plus, fairly well settled in life, fairly well supported financially and otherwise. But the fact that life can always throw a googly is a reality I experienced. And it was tough. I wouldn't say it was easy. It's emotionally draining to kind of do the paperwork. Sometimes they make you go around in circles. Not to forget that there are people coming with all kinds of advice to you.
Yes.
I was knowledgeable, so I knew what was right and what was wrong. But there are people who can even get cheated in such situations because people do not have scruples in doing so. And sometimes people genuinely want to be helpful but don't have the knowledge and bungle it up for you. So I think, which is where I was very happy that we spoke about how to go on the money date, how to keep those records. It really made it easy for me. It really made it easy. So I think that's very important. The other aspect I would like to touch upon is how I'm a definitely financially aware person. I have been managing my finance and investments since adulthood. And coincidentally, 4 or 5 years back, my husband and I kept talking about making a will, and we actually never got down to it. Very funnily, we never got down to it. Imagine talking about it for 4 to 5 years and never get down. In fact, I remember my husband saying that after my son leaves for his studies, the first thing we'll do is finish our bills because now he's not even in the country. But the unfortunate incident happened. And while we had our paperwork in place and nominations, etc., in place, believe me, having a will would have made it easier. The good part is, within a month of his passing, at least I got down to finally making my will. And I think that's why I feel wills need to be done. People need to understand the importance of wills. People also need to be very clear in their wills. I was talking to my lawyer, and she was sharing with me many incidents of how wills are sometimes unclear. Wills have to be very clear about who you are giving. Don't just say children to share this, because sharing has to be in a ratio. Don't just say I leave it in so and so person or so and so condition. Write clearly full details about it. If it's a property, please give complete details about the property, because you have to remember, if somebody wants to stake a claim on what is yours, you do not make it easy for them. So if you have a real estate asset, describe it in full. Describe it with complete details. Bank accounts, don't just say so and so bank, so and so branch. Mention the account number. Mention your locker numbers. People don't even forget some things of that sort. And which is where, if you have that list, it becomes so much easier. I put down my list as a learning after this. While I knew where everything was, I hadn't documented it. And I couldn't believe the first time that it took me 4 hours, because there was a lot of stuff and I had to go, saying, hey, ye wala bhi hai, arey, us company mein ye salary account tha. So it's not easy. And to ensure that it's easier than it can be when you need it, it's important we do the work in advance, because having that knowledge later really is not helpful. That's what my learning was.
So you brought in, thank you so much. You brought in so many aspects of, first, uncertainty. Life can happen at any point in time. Things can just go. You had planned to make a will when your son would go, and life happened before that. And it kind of gives me goosebumps to even think about it, that we all keep postponing these things for tomorrow without realizing that tomorrow might not happen. And then, of course, then the talk that you had about it not being able to trust people. One, because when you're vulnerable, who's with you, who's for you, who's against you, who understands, who doesn't understand. You yourself are in a situation where you are emotionally in such a turmoil that you don't want to. And if somebody else is even giving you good advice, you can't differentiate between good advice and bad advice, right? If you don't understand things yourself. And because you had the knowledge and awareness, you were able to understand and appreciate what was good advice and what was not good advice, and what is it that you wanted out of a thing. So I think that was huge, which a lot of women, I mean, I myself know so many situations amongst various women. Parents passed away during COVID, their father passed away, no idea about which bank account the money is, how much is the money, is there a mutual fund, is there, an insurance policy, no idea, because young kids, 25, 24-year-olds. I also know, parents pass away with minor children, and the parents, the maternal and paternal parents, fighting for custody of the grandchild. And if there is no will in place, then you don't, the parents know better that is a maternal parent better or a paternal parent better for their kids. But in the absence of a will, all these things start taking center stage when you suddenly you feel, this may not happen to you. But what about those minor children? They don't even know that such a situation can ever happen to them. And the countless situations where we see that, yes, life happens. And of course, death is one extreme incident. While you're living, you can get divorced. I've seen so many women who are facing incredible amount of challenges, because at one point they were working, but then they had kids, they left their job, depended on their husbands, don't know what money he's earning, where the money is, what it is, have now gone through a divorce, have the custody of the kids, but have no money. and the husbands are denying that they have enough to be able to take care of the alimony of the wives, and they're like fighting, no money, and it's a long legal battle. And if you secure yourself well before, such things can really be, I won't say avoided, but reduced. The negative implications can really be reduced to a lot of extent. And so, yes, it's so important. One is, of course, awareness. The importance of a will is important. And then the access, like you said. Another thing which you brought into point was having access, being aware that, acha, ye bank account hai. Of course, in hindsight, we are all wiser, which is what you did to yourself. You made your own will. And again, another important thing you said is putting down the asset in the will, that which assets are there and where are they? Because unless you know where the assets are, I'll give you a very interesting example. It's something which kind of shook me. So just some days back, I went to my in-laws' place, and my father-in-law was taking a bath. The driver came. He asked the mother-in-law for the car key, and she started looking for the car keys, and she was not able to find it. And she's like, I don't know where he's kept it. Now, this is something like a car key. Can you imagine? A car key is something which is on your face. It's like right there, but you're not able to find a car key, which is something which, you won't even think about. So something which is so accessible, which is always there in front of you, even that she could not locate in the absence of her spouse, because he was in the bathroom and she waited for him to come out. Think about all the documents and all the paperwork and all the banks and all the nominees and all the whatever, the insurance policies or whatever, and you have zero clue about it. How will you go about starting that whole process also? Even the thought of starting that process could be so intimidating. So it shook me to a different level to just see that I got car keys nahi mil rahi. Forget documents, forget so many other things. So yes.
That's the reality of so many women.
So what are your recommendations? What is your advice to women? What do you think women should do, considering that you are so much more wiser after your own experience?
So I think we've covered it earlier about documenting, having those money conversations, definitely have a will. And the will may sound very daunting, but it isn't. It actually can be done very simply. What is important, like I said, is clarity of what asset you are giving and in how much share to whoever. So that becomes
would you not say about knowledge? First of all,
knowledge, I was just coming to that. The fact is, yeah, we have to have, because when you're going on that investment journey, I think it's important to read through and be very clear which mutual fund you're buying, which insurance you're buying, what kind of a bond or other investment you're making.
And what are the exemptions?
Exemptions. So when you read an insurance form, one is never lie on these things.
Yeah.
However, difficult it may seem. I know of people who have lied about either a health condition or their drinking or smoking habits, and later on the family is left trying to struggle to get the money out. A bit of honesty would have made it easier, and it would have actually ended up being good insurance. Second thing, while buying, first do your own reading up, understanding of it. Ask the advisor questions. Ask the advisor what makes this policy or mutual fund or whatever instrument the best. What is the risk in it? What is wrong in it? Yeah. Because you don't want to discover that later. No instrument is going to be perfect. Obviously, any financial investment has a risk aspect to it, no doubt about it, but understand it. I have had a very close advisor friend say that, when a lot of people say that, "Arey, humko to galat bech diya," ya mis-selling has been done.
It's not mis-selling.
It's actually not mis-selling. It's you not understanding what is being sold to you. After all, you know your life and your goals better. You can verbalize it to others, but you know it better. If somebody is selling you something you can't afford, don't buy it. Buy something lesser. You may not be able to buy that high premium insurance because your advisor is pushing you. Take a lesser premium, but remember 3 years later to take another insurance when you can afford it, so your overall insurance value goes up. Yeah. I think that is the way to do it. I don't think people missell, at least 8 out of the 10. There will be bad apples everywhere. Yeah.
Right.
But is it your lack of knowledge which has contributed to mis-selling? And that should not be the case. You run a beautiful social media channel and you run beautiful programs. I would encourage people to kind of follow influencers like you. Read about it. If you have invested in insurance or mutual fund, they will keep sending you emails. Some of them are, kind of knowledge, get to know your policy, get to know your fund. Once in a while, open and read this, and you will understand a lot. Be aware. If after 3 or 5 years of being invested in something, you're uncomfortable with what you read, take action about it. As a financial advisor, I'm sure you make people review portfolios. That's as much a part of future planning as it is of current planning.
You said it's absolutely right. Like I remember one of my tribe members, actually after I got insurance, she opened her insurance policies, her health insurance policy and her other policies to see what are the exemptions. And says, oh my God, so many things are not covered in it. And even that awareness ki acha kya covered hai aur kya nahi covered hai makes you feel more empowered to say, okay, this is when I can take it and this is when I can't take it, right? So even that awareness, because sometimes you land up spending on something where the awareness is not there, ki acha wo claim kar sakte hain. And the other time, even if you think you're going to be able to claim it, you realize later ki arey wo to mil hi nahi raha. We had not budgeted for it, but we're not going to get that money from the insurance, right? And like you said, that another thing which we had talked about a little bit before was if a person is smoking and he passes away, or if he's drinking and he passes away, will you get insurance? Will the term insurance or the life insurance really be given to the dependents? Those are very, very big questions that we all need to be at least cognizant of. And then work in our life to see that these things are as much as possible, at least try and stay away from it, because you don't know when life can happen. Arey, hamare saath to kuch nahi hoga. We always live with that. We'll be taken care of. Hamare saath to kuch nahi hoga. Oh, neighbor ke saath ho sakta hai, friend ke saath ho sakta hai, auntie ke saath ho sakta hai, kisi aur ke saath ho sakta hai. Mere saath to nahi hoga. I mean, I'm sure you all understand ki hum sabke saath kuch bhi ho sakta hai. And at that time, you're so vulnerable. And at that time, that's not the time to gain knowledge. That's not the time to start thinking ki ab main kya karu. It's well before that. Yeah, that empowering feeling will make you feel less vulnerable, because life really can happen. So yes,
these are our goals, right? These are our goals, and if you're not going to meet your goals after having everything, it's not right.
Absolutely. And the person who lives on is the one who's going to need the money. And if it's not accessible to that person, imagine your whether it's your spouse or whoever it is, your father, who's for all these years slogged it out for you to be able to live a good life after that person is not there for whatever reasons, and you're not able to access that money. All his or her hard work is gone down the drain. The long hours that person spent in office to earn money, to be able to save for you and invest for you, if you don't have access to the money, what's the point? So thank you so much, Jermina. This was, I think it's truly needed. It's something which we all need to be aware of, that, and we should be cognizant as women that please don't assume that you'll be taken care of. Please wear your oxygen mask first while the going is good. Not when shit has hit the roof. Well before that, because you don't know which day shit will hit the roof. So I read a very interesting saying on this, which says money is life, and even in death you need to provide. So yes, ladies, every one of us needs money till the time we're alive, and I wish for all of us that nothing bad happens to us and we are taken care of, but then life happens, and so let's be prepared for it. Thank you, Jermina, for being here today.
Thanks, Meeta. Thank you for helping me take this message to women who